if they don't make it to the finals, then this might be one of the biggest L's in NBA history.
Hot topics.
Embiid never had the mentality to win a championship. I don't think he ever will win a championship.
The best analysis.
But Jokic, he might be the best player in the league this season. He really might be the MVP.
This is the Full Court Report.
And we're back. Episode number 32 of the Full Court Report. How's everybody doing?
Pretty
Doing
good.
Pretty good. Doing pretty good.
Yeah.
How are you doing, Jorie?
You know, I could be doing a little bit better.
Going on?
Yeah, why is
Well, earlier today, my championship for March Madness, my championship pick, Michigan State, they lost. They're done. But that being said, I wanted to get your guys' thoughts. So yes, it is March Madness. It's, you know, a lot of fun basketball games going on. But all the number one seeds in the tournament, they made it to the Final Four. The only other time that has happened was in 2008. That was the year the Kansas Jayhawks won it all. But alongside them in that Final Four was Memphis when they had Derrick Rose, UNC when they had Ty Lawson, Tyler Hansborough, Danny Green was on that UNC team, and then UCLA with Russ, Kevin Love, Darren Collison. So they had a lot of great players in that Final Four, a lot of great players in this year's Final Four. But, yeah, I don't know if you guys have a prediction for this year. The remaining teams are Auburn, Florida, Duke, and Houston. So I don't know. Do you guys have any opinions?
I mean, I got a bracket with Auburn winning it all.
Is that your pick though? Because you can have more than one bracket.
I do have, I
You
mean, I
could
got
say
a couple
you
of
could-
brackets with Duke winning it all, but I'm putting my money on Auburn.
Okay.
Yeah, I made one bracket. I chose Texas Tech. So I don't really have a dog in the fight, but I just feel like I really like Duke. They just seem to be taking care of business without any issues.
Yeah, I got two brackets. The one, I got 3 out of 4 Final Four picks. I was kind of hoping Alabama would get the upset over Duke. But other than that, I got the rest of the Final Four all good. I need Florida to win it all. I need a Florida-Houston final, and I need Florida to win it all. So I'm looking good so far.
Okay. Yeah, I really don't know. I mean, I don't think there's a bad answer to this question, but I think maybe since no one said Houston, I'm just going to say Houston. Why not? Kelvin Sampson, I think is their coach's name. I mean, they have a lot of experience. Like he's, you know, been around the block. I mean, a lot of these teams do. Bruce Pearl with Auburn. But yeah, should be a fun one. These next couple of games are going to be a lot of fun to watch, so definitely tap in.
When's the Final Four games? Next week?
I think they start, probably like Thursday or Friday, if I had to guess. Yeah, so. And ironically enough, the women's bracket, there's still a chance that all 4 number 1 seeds could advance, but the USC, Southern California, Juju Watkins, she tore her ACL, so it's kind of looking not great. They have to play UConn, which is my pick to win it all this year, but we'll see.
Yeah,
Could
that's going to be a tough game for them.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Juju, that was a big loss. I would have loved to see that matchup, though, between her and Paige.
I think that's what everyone wanted. That's why they were kind of on the same bracket, but, you know, maybe
I think she's going to come back, though.
We'll see it in the WNBA one day. We'll see it in the WNBA. But, yeah. Well, I just wanted to mention that, obviously, college basketball coming to an end here, so got to highlight everyone going on. But, man, it's like this feels like voodoo's magic. I don't know. We asked Spencer to join the podcast, and then like 3 weeks later, the Memphis Grizzlies have fired Taylor Jenkins. I'm sorry, Spencer. Well, I'll let you go first, but I just wanted to mention kind of like what he did with his tenure. So like I said, the Grizzlies, they fired Taylor Jenkins this past Friday. At the time of the firing, they were 44-29. They were 5th in the Western Conference. Taylor Jenkins, he had been coach since the 2019-20 season. That was when Ja Morant was a rookie. He won Rookie of the Year, of course. Under Coach Jenkins, the Grizzlies, they made the playoffs 3 times. They had one playoff series win. That was against Minnesota in 2022. And earlier this year, he became the winningest head coach in Grizzlies history. So he's kind of going down as an all-time Grizzlies coach. He's there for 6 seasons. So I don't know. But at the time, or at this day and point, I guess, Memphis, they've lost 5 of their last 6 games, and they've gone 8-12 since the All-Star break. So, Spencer, I'll open the floor to you. How are you feeling right now, man?
I mean, I don't like the move. Gonna be honest, I don't like this move at all. I saw the Grizzlies also fired their assistant coaches, Noah LaRoche and Patrick St. Williams, or St. Andrews, excuse me. And like it or not, Taylor Jenkins' offensive system is the only one that stars like Ja and Desmond Bane have been a part of to this point in the NBA. And I'm mad about their slide in the rankings from 2 to 5 also, but heading into the playoffs, trying to find a new offensive identity just doesn't really make sense to me. You're going to have an interim head coach with less than a month of regular season experience who's going to be asked to coach in the playoffs against the way it's looking right now against the Lakers with LeBron and Luka. And looking at LeBron's first round playoff record, I'm not really hyped about that. I did see some reports too that prior to the firing, Ja was kind of unhappy with the way that the Grizzlies offense was looking. Is this because Jaren became more of a focal point in the offense? I don't think Ja and Jaren are beefing, but Ja's only played 44 games this season, only 9 the season before that. He might feel like he's not getting the same number of opportunities that he's been used to in the past, looking at his rookie season and 2020, 2021 after that.
You know what, Woods? I'm gonna piggyback off that because aside from Ja, this year and last season, you guys were dealing with a lot of injuries, coming up to playoff time. And with Ja Morant specifically, I've been seeing online that there's like a little controversy kind of like dealing with like what he's been dealing with for injuries. Since, throughout this season alone, he's had 9 different types of injuries. He's had a thigh injury, hip, knee, back, AC joint, foot, random illness, whatever it is, common cold, whatever's going on, a shoulder injury, and a hamstring injury all throughout this season. And within the last 2 months, he's had 5 different injuries. So I've just been seeing people online kind of say, like, is Ja like lying about being hurt, missing games because he's upset with how Taylor Jenkins has been coaching the team? So, like, I don't know. Like you said, I don't like the move. Right before playoff time, like, you might as well leave them around until, they're done in the playoffs, until their season's over.
Right.
And then if you want to change the coaching scenario, you do it after the playoffs. There's not even 10 games left. There's no reason to fire your head coach at this point in the season.
Exactly. And then, like, building off that too, all the potential coaching prospects that they might be trying to hire are going to be looking at the way that this situation was handled. And there's no way they're going to be happy about becoming the winningest coach in the franchise's history and then getting canned with barely any time left in the season. It's just not a good look for anybody that's walking into that door.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, since you guys have mentioned it, I wanted to mention the changes to the Grizzlies offense. I know that The Athletic, a couple of their reporters that said Ja was complaining about the changes in the offense, saying that they removed a lot of plays where he's a pick and roll ball handler. And I actually went and looked at all the stats. I guess they have tracking. NBA does their own like tracking stats. The number of possessions per game Ja is in the pick and roll as a ball handler. His rookie season, he was 9.7, or he had 9.7 possessions per game as a pick and roll ball handler. That ranked 11th in the league. His second season, it went up to 10.3. That was 7th in the league. His third season was 12.4. He was 3rd in the league that season. His fourth season, he was at 12.8. That was the highest in the NBA. And then last year, he was at 9.9, which was 7th. This season, he's down to 6.3, which is 28th in the NBA. So this is literally the lowest amount that they've used him in that capacity. And I mean, I'm not saying Ja isn't like a super dynamic point guard that can score in a variety of ways, but I do feel like that was kind of a lot of what makes him so special is like it's kind of high ball screens that gives Ja a lot of space to get downhill. He's obviously a great decision maker, so I don't know. I think that was kind of Ja's go-to offense for the majority of his career, and for him to kind of lose that, so far into this coaching tenure with Taylor Jenkins did feel a little strange. But that being said, you mentioned it, Justin. I think it's just difficult to build around a guy that's constantly injured. And I don't want to make it seem like I don't want to come off disrespectful, I guess. But the most he's ever played in a season is 67, which was his rookie season. And the year he won Most Improved Player, he played 57 games. So with the new 65 game rule now, like Ja would not even have any awards essentially in his career outside of a Rookie of the Year, which is weird to think about. But I don't know. I mean, it's hard to build around a guy that's not really available. And when you have a player like Jaren, who's an extremely capable offensive hub, I think, maybe they shift towards him, but I don't know. I think it's player related. Sorry, go ahead, Toby.
I mean, I agree with you. It's hard, with inconsistency with injuries and all that. But I feel like when Ja was healthy, like in that Most Improved season, I'm pretty sure they finished second in the West. A really, really good Western Conference. So I feel like it's in a way kind of unfair for Taylor Jenkins because like you guys said, he's dealing with these injuries. When everybody's healthy, the team looks great. Obviously, Ja Morant's injured now, and he's missed however many games, which I think is, obviously why they're not playing as good recently. So to me, I wouldn't be surprised if this was something like internal, like some internal issues that we just don't know about. Because like you guys mentioned, I agree with you. It's really strange that they wouldn't just wait. They wouldn't just ride it out for the season and make a change in the offseason. So yeah, I don't know. I don't like the move. It's going to be interesting. Do you guys know if they've named an interim head coach yet?
Yes.
Yes, it's Tuomas Lasalo.
Yeah.
All right.
I think
so we'll
he's
see
like
how he does.
a Finnish coach. I think like Finland, I'm pretty sure. But he was an assistant, I think, on the staff this year. So like he's part of the team. But yeah, it's definitely weird, and like you said, I can't really think of a coach that was so fired that's going into the playoffs, like on track to make the playoffs. Obviously, coaches might get fired that are, in the lottery at the bottom of the standings, but Memphis is on pace to make the playoffs, so I'm curious. Do you guys view this team as a legitimate playoff threat? Do you think they can even win a series in the postseason this year?
I mean, I'm definitely biased, but I think with a healthy Jaren, Ja, and Dez, like they're always going to be a legitimate playoff threat. But I think that the turmoil that we've seen, like even just Desmond Bain shoving Santi, maybe that means nothing, but we're seeing a lot of things that are raising more questions than giving us answers heading into the playoffs. And I don't think that that's a good sign.
Yeah, with if like we always say, if the season ended today, their current first round matchup would be the Lakers. And sorry to say this, Spencer, but LeBron owns Memphis. Like ever since he's been a Laker, he's been bullying you guys. And to be honest, I think with, this firing coming completely out of nowhere, basically, like nobody could have seen this coming. That kind of messes with the chemistry a little bit. And the Warriors are right behind you guys. I'm pretty sure the Warriors are only 2 or 2.5 games behind you guys. So if the Warriors can snag that 5 seed, that would mean that Memphis is playing Denver in the first round. And I still do not think that, even if you guys are healthy with the coaching change, I don't know if you're beating Denver round one.
Honestly, I'd rather play Denver in the first round than the Lakers.
I think I would
I
too.
feel like
I think I
the
would.
Lakers
know.
outside of the Thunder might be the most difficult team for the Grizzlies to match up with. That's not to say I think it's going to be a cakewalk against the Nuggets, but I would rather play the Nuggets. In the
Careful
first
what you wish for, Spence. I'll
round.
say
We'll
that.
see. We'll
I'll
see.
say that. Oh man.
I want to see that Jaren matchup with Jokic.
You don't want that. I don't think you want that
down
Spencer.
there.
It could be a good one.
That'd
But,
be entertaining, to say the least.
What do you think, Toby? Playoffs.
I'll put it like this. I feel like Memphis can win a series if we're talking about the play-in series. I don't think
that's crazy.
I'm sorry, but I don't like them against anybody in the West. Any of the legitimate threats. And like Justin was mentioning, the Warriors are a couple games behind them, and so are the Timberwolves. And if they lose those few games, there's only like what 8 games left in the season. But they're at a real threat to be a playing team, and you know, with a new coach, you do not want to lose a playing series. But like you guys said, I think the Lakers, I think they're too good. I definitely think the Nuggets are, you know, even worse than the Lakers. Like if I were you guys, I'd rather see the Lakers than the Nuggets. But no, I think, like I said, I think this completely eliminates their chances in the playoffs. I don't think they're winning a playoff series.
And just real quick before we move on, I can't remember like who the person is and what, like what their job is with the organization, but I saw somebody come out and say that this firing like was all completely their decision. I don't know if it was the
I think it
GM.
was the GM.
I saw that he came out and he was like, "Yeah, this was completely my decision, doing what's best for the team." And I gotta say, I think, as we've all said, I think we all completely disagree with that. Couldn't have been a worse time to fire your head coach, if we're being honest.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it just came to a point where he and the players just were not seeing eye to eye, and there's just really no way to get their, I don't know, to get their attention at that point. If I feel like if you just lose the respect of the players, then you kind of have to move on. I
And
think he'll be a sought after head coach. I don't know if another team will, try and get him this offseason, but I would imagine he's probably going to have some offers. So I don't think he's going to be out of the league for very long, if you ask me.
I definitely think he deserves a job as a head coach somewhere. That man can coach.
But yeah, we'll see. Like you said, it's kind of trending towards a series against the Lakers in the first round, which is definitely going to be interesting. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But moving on out into the Eastern Conference, some other unfortunate news. Damian Lillard is going to be out indefinitely. He's suffering with blood clots, or he was diagnosed with blood clots in his right calf. And like I said, he's going to be out for an unknown amount of time. But Milwaukee has lost 3 straight games, and they are currently in 6th place in the Eastern Conference. And if you remember back to last season, the Bucks also went into last year's playoffs with dealing with injuries. Giannis, he missed their first round series against the Pacers because of a calf injury, and Dame, he got injured in that series as well, so he only played 4 of the 6 games. Also, earlier this season, we saw Victor Wembanyama. He was diagnosed with blood clots in his right shoulder. So, I don't know. It's just unfortunate. Yeah, I mean, really, I guess the question I have is, do you guys believe in the Bucks moving forward? I know, without Dame, it's kind of, where do you kind of get your off the dribble shot creation, essentially, I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think Giannis is good enough to really will this team to a first round playoff victory?
I think I'll start. Just because it's looking very likely that the Bucks first round matchup will be against my New York Knicks. So I don't know. I'm gonna keep it short and sweet with no Dame. It's looking like a fat L to the New York Knicks, if we're being honest, for the Bucks. Uh, I just don't think they have what it takes, and with all of our wing depth that we have, wing stop, we got Josh Hart, OG, and Macau.
Stop. Here we go.
We're gonna be throwing a lot of different looks at Giannis defensively. So, I mean, at this point, other than maybe like a pick and pop from Brook Lopez or maybe a Kevin Porter Jr. Scoring surge off the bench, I'm not really sure what we're going to be seeing from the Milwaukee Bucks in that first round against the Knicks, especially if we have Brunson back and everybody's at least able to play. They may not be fully healthy. If everybody's able to at least play, I feel like the New York Knicks are taking that series in 5 games.
Well, yeah, I think the big question there is if Brunson is healthy, because that would kind of eliminate the kind of cancel each other out almost. You lose both your starting point guards.
I don't think so. I think the New York Knicks have a much better roster, even if both of the team's starting point guards are missing. I feel like with Cat, those 3 wings that I had talked about earlier, McBride, Mitchell Robinson, we got defense and offense covered, even without Brunson. I feel like we're good to go.
Okay. All right.
I'm with you. I mostly agree with you, Justin. The thing is, you can never count out Giannis because he's gonna turn it up in the playoffs. He's gonna. There's no stopping him. Like, you guys aren't gonna stop him. I think that they're not gonna be able to compete. Like, with Jalen Brunson, I don't think they have another scorer that can, keep up with him. So, with that being said, I don't see the Bucks beating the Knicks or any other team in the East without Damian Lillard. Although I will be rooting for them, especially if they play the Knicks in the first round. But yeah, I don't know. It's quite honestly, I don't really know like what blood clots really are. I don't know if this is going to be something he's going to be dealing with for the rest of his career. But we've seen other players come back from it pretty good. Brandon Ingram comes to mind. So hopefully he's back next year and, they're back in competitive form. But this year, I think similar to the Grizzlies, I think it's a wash. I think they're going to be out in the first round and it sucks, but I think that's the way it's going to play out.
Yeah, I don't see the Bucks being able to beat the Knicks in a 7-game series without Dame. I think Dame just being on the court completely changes the Bucks offense and changes the way that they can space the floor out too. I think it's kind of been crazy how many people we've seen with blood clots recently though. Like, I don't know what the NBA can or the health staff can really do about that to try to prevent that going forward, but kind of been a crazy trend.
Yeah, you're definitely right. Hopefully, like you guys said, it doesn't impact him long term. We'd love to see him back out on the floor. But I think what you mentioned is just kind of changes their entire offense, like the gravity that Dame has, as they say. I think it benefits so many players on the roster. Like, they do have a lot of good 3-point shooters, right? Like Torian Prince, Gary Trent, and even Brook Lopez will be spotting up occasionally. I feel like just the threat of Dame really allows them to get a lot more open shots. Obviously allows a lot more space for Giannis to operate as well. So I don't know. I think it's going to be tough for Milwaukee to pull off a victory in the playoffs without Dame. But like you said, Justin, it's trending towards potentially a Knicks matchup. So that could be a really fun series.
Are we sleeping on playoff coups for the Bucks?
Yeah, I mean, they're gonna need it.
He's got a ring. He might go
gonna need
crazy with no Dame.
I believe in Kuz.
They're gonna need
He's
it.
going to give him buckets.
Yeah, I think actually they're playing the Hawks right now. I think he started the game like 6 for 6 from the field. So maybe he's turning it up. Who knows? Better watch out, Justin.
He's been in purgatory on the Wizards. He's been waiting to show out.
Uh,
Yeah, it's
uh,
finally his chance.
Yeah.
but before we move on, I just want to say I kind of feel bad for the Bucks because I feel like the last, since they've won that ring, I feel like they've just been getting terrible injury luck, like right before the playoffs or during the playoffs. So I don't know. I kind of feel bad for the Bucks, but I've been seeing talks, as a Knicks fan, I see all types of crazy free agency talks. Been seeing that if the Bucks lose in the playoffs again this year, Giannis might be looking to leave and he might be looking to come to New York City.
Not
So,
going nowhere.
Yeah, he's not going to New York.
what do you mean? We could trade OG, Josh Hart, and
No,
McCall
you
for
can't. No,
Giannis
you
just
can't.
like that.
No, you can't.
Just like that. That would be a
Jeez.
championship team right there.
Well, Justin, you say you feel bad for the Bucks for all their injuries. Did you feel bad for the Nets in 2021? Kyrie got
No,
injured.
I didn't. No, I didn't.
Wow. That's
They got a chip already, though. Giannis already got a chip.
I don't care.
That's funny.
I was not trying to see the Brooklyn Nets win, especially with Kevin Durant on the spot. I'm not trying to see that.
All right. All right.
He's
Well,
a big toe away from winning that series.
Yeah,
it's all right. You got Drew Timmy now. It's all good.
yeah.
Facts.
Yeah, Drew Hemme.
Drew.
The March legend.
But no, I think you're right, Justin. I think the Bucks they got an interesting offseason upcoming if they get knocked out in the first round. What does that mean for Doc Rivers as a coach? Like you said, what does that mean for Giannis moving forward? Dame, even he's getting a little bit older. Brooke Lopez, another guy who could, who knows? This team could look a lot different this time next season. But I feel like we've kind of been down in the dumps today, just talking all negative. A team that's kind of been on the rise, the Chicago Bulls. They have definitely been turning it up as the playoffs / play-in is approaching. They've won 4 of their last 5 games, and they're inching closer and closer to the 8th seeded Atlanta Hawks. In the month of March, they were 9-5. Josh Giddey and Kobe White have kind of been the headliner in Chicago over this stretch, I would say. Josh Giddey averaging a near triple-double, 20.9 points, 9.8 rebounds, 8.9 assists a game. And Kobe White averaging 29.1 points, 3.9 assists, and 3.3 three-pointers per game. I don't know. This is an interesting team. Justin, I think you were the one that kind of wanted to talk about it, so we can start with you. Do you think that this late season surge is going to propel Chicago into the playoffs?
Well, the number 7 and number 10 seed in the East at the time of recording this episode are currently 2.5 games apart from each other. So anything can still happen, in the Eastern Conference play-in tournament. But at this point, it's almost locked in that it's going to be Orlando, Atlanta, Chicago, and Miami, whatever that order is. It could really come down to the last game of the season. Like, it's that close. But if I had to take a guess real quick, I would say that, if the standings stayed how they are, it would be Orlando versus Atlanta in the 7-8 game, and then Chicago and Miami in the 9-10 game. I think Atlanta and Chicago are winning their 2 games, which would mean Chicago would play Orlando for the 8th seed, and I think Chicago is taking that game with just, the chemistry and just, they're winning as of late. They've just been winning games. Everybody's been playing well. Lonzo's doing his thing there too. So, they gotta, even losing Zach LaVine in the trade at the deadline, they still have a pretty solid team. They're a play-in team, but they could be a dangerous play-in team. I feel like, they're winning. I feel like they could make it into the playoffs when they're playing games, but at this point, no matter which position they get in the play-in, they're playing Cleveland or Boston in the first round. As much as I would love to see an upset against one of those two teams, I do not think it's happening. But Chicago's a fun team. I don't know, what the free agent market is looking like, but if they can get something to happen in the offseason and kind of replace losing Zach LaVine, they could be a playoff team next year. They could they're not out of, playoff contention anytime soon, I feel like.
What about you, Tobe?
Yeah, I agree with you. I really like the Bulls. I mean, I think they have a really, really like solid roster, I should say. Um, I think it's going to be close. I think if they continue playing the way they are, I like them in the playing games as well. And I think there's a real shot that they might get that 8th or 7th seed, which, obviously would be huge for them. Like you said, I don't see them, they maybe steal a game or two against the Celtics or the Cavs, but I don't see them going anywhere beyond that. But I think it's a good start for, this pretty young team. I think moving on from LaVine was definitely the right move at this point. Josh Giddey, he's been playing really good. Booz Ellis, he's been also hooping recently. I think he had a 30-point game the other day. I think he dropped 28 yesterday. So, the future's bright. Lonzo Ball is playing good. I think, I don't know what Vucevic's contract looks like, but maybe they trade him and get some more young pieces. I think next year is going to be is going to be their year, make or break year to either, like the Pistons, get better, or they're going to, maybe restart from new. But I like the Bulls. I like them coming out of the play-in, but that's, like I said, I think that's about as far as they're going to get.
Yeah, I think the Bulls have a lot of great pieces. I think Kobe White's a dog. I'm glad they stayed committed to him and they didn't move on from him before he like blossomed into the player that he's becoming now. I think they're getting hot at the right time. I like the Bulls' odds in the play-in against anybody other than the Magic. I really think that's the only team out of those four, like through 7 through 10, that could really be a problem for them. But like you guys were saying, I don't see them winning in the first round against either team that they'd have to play. I think those are difficult matchups for the pieces that they got right now.
Yeah.
I feel like regardless of the play-in team, it's going to be a struggle against the Cavs or the Celtics.
Yeah, those teams are juiced.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's this has been a fun watch. I think the game against the Lakers was really like the highlight of this down the stretch of the game. I think it was Patrick Williams hit a 3, right? And then that brought it to within 1. And then on the inbounds, LeBron has the ball stolen by Josh Giddey, and he throws it to Kobe White, takes the lead with a 3. And on the other end, Austin Reeves hits a layup. No timeout is called. Bulls need to score. Josh Giddey from half court. I mean, it was insane. That's honestly going to get replayed, I think, for quite some time. That's like an all-time shot in my mind.
Yeah.
You don't see that very often. But yeah, it's been fun. It's definitely been fun. Like you said, Spencer, I really like Kobe White. He, as a Nuggets fan, he kind of reminds me of a Jamal Murray in the same way. Like he's a bigger, like point guard, but more of a shooting guard kind of. I think he plays with someone like Josh Giddey. Like you can kind of correlate Josh Giddey to Jokic in the way that Josh Giddey might not be listed at point guard, but he's kind of running the offense a lot of the times. So I feel like Kobe White, they use him and Jamal kind of similarly. But a great shooter, not really like the most explosive, I guess, athlete, but still, like I said, a bigger point guard. So I think he has a good advantage most nights. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like Atlanta with Trae Young, they have like playoff experience. I feel like that's a team that's going to be tough to beat in a play-in setting, especially if they have a home court advantage. And Orlando, they've dealt with a lot of injuries, but I still feel like Paolo and Franz that's like maybe the best duo really of any of these play-in teams, and I feel like they can win a game, especially if they were at home. But like you guys said, I think this just kind of gives them confidence going into the offseason. They have a really nice young core. And moving forward, I feel like try and get a big man in there. I think having a nice defensive center would help this team quite a bit. Nice like lob threat, vertical threat, and help this defense a little bit. But I don't know. Shout out Chicago.
Yeah, what up, Bulls? No, that is I think I agree with you there a little bit, Jory. Nice little Mitchell Robinson would be kind of perfect for the Chicago
Oh
Bulls.
gosh,
Maybe we can make a little deal over in the
this guy's
offseason.
trying to trade his whole team.
I think the only thing that's kind of holding me back about the Hawks going into the play-in is Jalen Johnson's like injury. I think if they had him, I'd be more confident with them being able to make like a real dangerous move like in the playoffs. But
Yeah, no, I hear.
I think that's a big loss.
No, I hear you. I think it could be interesting. I mean, Dyson Daniels has really stepped up, I think, in this time, and he could be really, and some kind of a threat, I think, for this team moving forward. But we'll see. Yeah. So these Bulls, man, shout out these Bulls. Dame, we hope you get better. And sorry to Taylor Jenkins, but you'll land on your feet. Don't worry about it.
I feel like Taylor Jenkins, a perfect spot for him would be
The New York Knicks after they fired Tibbs.
the
Facts.
Washington Wizards. Even though don't the Wizards have JB Bickerstaff?
No, it's in Detroit. The Wizards, I think, is Brian Keefe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Brian.
who's Brian Keefe, bro? Get Taylor Jenkins in there.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, good stuff. Tap into March Madness before it's over. We only got about a week left. Yeah. And we're moving closer and closer to the playoffs. So I don't know what we talk about next week. Probably just more standing stuff playing.
Maybe somebody else will get fired.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows? Anything can happen in the NBA, as we've seen throughout this season. But until then, we'll be seeing you.
Before we go, I run the Instagram. We have hit 3,700 profile views in the last 30 days. Thank you very much. Thank you for the support. Subscribe, follow, like the video.